Good morning, everybody. Today is the 14th of August, so it's week 4 here at school, a 10-week term. So not quite halfway through, lots of learning ahead for us. Last week at school was probably one of the busiest weeks we're likely to have. We had Public Education Week across all of New South Wales, and as well as that at Thornley West, we decided we were going to hold our NAIDOC events in the same week. The reason for that was there were some really complementary themes, with the Public Education Week theme of igniting your potential really complementing nicely the next generation strength, vision, and legacy as a NAIDOC theme. We wanted to make the best of that teachable moment. 2 assemblies, one aimed at our parent body and one aimed at our student body, certainly kept me on my toes. But I recognise that for parents, you probably only saw the Public Education Week component of it, weren't privy to the NAIDOC part of it. And to help everybody with that, I just want to share some of what happened last week at the NAIDOC Assembly. So this was on Thursday last week. We're looking really carefully at opportunities to showcase our bands. So all of our bands got to have a run last week, and that included the NAIDOC Assembly. Acknowledgement of country, and this was led by our student leaders who did an absolutely fantastic job. And you might notice the artwork today, personally done by Mrs. Granville. We then had our choir perform, sung Strive to Achieve, and then having a bit of a look at ancestral lines and talking about how storylines work in Aboriginal culture. After our band, another dance performance, quite a cold morning, but the dancers rose to the occasion. And then I got a chance to really have a bit of a think about what I'd like to share with everybody. And the way that I did that was focusing very much on the legacy, focusing very much on what the students learn about and the example they set today, and the fact that they really are the next generation and they are our future. We recognise that we're working towards Grandparents' Day, a whole range of cross-curricular links. And so I thought it was really important for us to have a bit of consideration of the role that trees form in Aboriginal culture. They're part of how we hold our stories. We spoke about, say, scarred trees, birthing trees, and grandmother trees. And we're leading towards creating wisdom trees for each class. So this is a wisdom tree that I put together, all imaginary leaves, and the students will be doing that as well, considering what legacy will be left behind for them, what legacy will they leave behind for the future. And all these leaves will contribute to create a class tree that can be shared with grandparents, because I'm imagining that quite a few leaves for each class will come from our grandparents. And then had a bit of a think about, well, I wonder what my grandparents left for me. And my paternal grandmother, she had a great number of sayings, like a great deal of wisdom for me. And I shared with the kids some of her sayings. That's clean dirt was a favourite one of mine. That was an excuse to not wash your hands before dinner if the dirt wouldn't come off. If you're going to do it anyway, do it with good grace. Something that I try to take on board every day in my role as a school teacher, that's for sure. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. And I even heard one of the students in the playground in the afternoon telling another child not to do that, following some conversations about handball. And perhaps the best one for me, kept me busy as a little boy for many hours, was really to never put anything smaller than your elbow in your ear. Now, I can't think of any better advice than that for the future. But the other thing that happened as well last week is the students were working on a tableau of activities across the week. And each subject, we had designed something that linked back to the NAIDOC theme. A number of teachers collaborated on this. And I've actually included this in today's newsletter so you can have a look through and see what happened last week for each of the subjects. So Kind had a fairly full week. You can see Year 1, a range of activities, Stage 3, etc. So do have a look. I found it fairly interesting. And Mrs. Granville as well, she took the time to share this story here with us, Grandfather Emu. And we had it on the screen. All the kids got a chance to listen to the story, something about being kind and helpful and respecting your elders, and a fairly funny story along the way. Now, Public Education Week, huge week for us here at school, particularly for me as a career public educator. And I know that my colleagues and I, we rock up to school every day full of enthusiasm for the day ahead, and knowing really that we are in a position where we can make a difference, and what we do today really might make a difference in someone's life. So a really big deal for us, And in today's newsletter, the same as I had shared some information about NAIDOC Week, for those who are interested who weren't able to make it, I've included the script of my address to the students and the community. For those who attended, you can skip that. It says what I said, but certainly thank you to everybody, particularly those who attended our open days. And a last little reminder for this week, our USH provides a fantastic service. And if your kids don't go to USH, I would really encourage you to consider that. 2 weeks ago was National USH Educators Day. We passed on the thoughts of all of our community to our educators, and they had a pretty good afternoon tea as part of that recognition. But we do have to work closely with the USH, and one of their big priorities is to have a really solid plan in place that makes sure they know where every student is all the time and that their educators have eyes on. This is easy in theory, but with that transition at the end of the day, we have teachers leaving class, heading off to their professional responsibilities afterwards, students on the bus heading away, and also USH happening. And it can be very difficult for the USH staff to know exactly who they're responsible for if there's additional students in the yard. So the USH and I, we're really asking if at the end of the day, bus students get to the bus, USH students get to USH. And it's important that the rest of the students go home fairly smartly, because otherwise, from an USH educator's point of view, they really don't know who they're taking care of. If you want some spaces to play after school, Ruddock Park, absolutely fantastic. But of course, across the road, we've got Oakley, and there's Heddon Park down the road. Or call the USH. I'm sure if your child would like to engage in some activities, they'd have a conversation with making some regular bookings. But other than that, it's a fairly normal week here at school, struggling a bit with the rain. Fingers crossed for PWSA tomorrow. And other than that, we hope you enjoy your week, and we look forward to catching up soon. Thank you.